So, I was awoken in the middle of the night from my 4-year-old daughter. And he says, "The baby is in the garden." When I opened the back door, sure enough, some strange baby started wailing in our backyard. There was a pause, and my husband met eyes with me. Our daughter then said some odd words. Towns told Kenny, "This baby is saying she's my sister." Our darling daughter emanated happiness, while my husband went pale and sweated like a pig. I didn't miss that. Could this possibly be? But that's where things started to take a dark twist. I'm Elora, 32 years old. I'm married to Seraphine, who's 3 years my senior, and Noah is our daughter, 4 going on 24. Elora, Noah, our daughter. And Seraphine. I don't know what Noah has been saying again. My husband looked at me and our daughter Noah and just sighed in disbelief. This happens every day. Actually, my daughter appears to possess some sort of spooky animal and baby whispering gene. I did not believe it at first myself, but the odds are so crazy that I could not ignore. Do you remember smiling 15 minutes ago when my daughter was whispering something to the neighbor's dog and suddenly looked up? "Noned Bakery is on the way, dog. Smells like bread." Noah wants bread. I stared at my daughter with a half frown, but moments later, the bakery van really did drive past us. I was taken aback. As we visit our relatives and see that they had their newborn baby at the time, who was only 6 months old, maybe my little girl is whispering to her playing around, giggling. This baby put something shiny under the sofa as a practical joke. With only half a heart in it, I bent to peer under the couch, and there was that prize ring our loved ones were sure had slipped away. I could cite countless examples like that, but my husband never believed in our daughter. "Elora, Noah, don't say things like that to other people because it is embarrassing." But for now, although my wife didn't have a name to attach to this sensation at the time, and probably still doesn't, I know our daughter's patience was something else happening altogether. Even though I really do not want Noah to be Neptune or removed from the NSG and ridiculed by others. So I resolved never to whisper even a hint about how Noah had spoken with animals or babies outside the house. But Noah was a good boy. If I asked him to do something, he would listen. At this time, my spouse was traveling for work several days a week as well. He traveled frequently with the job he had before I lost that did not change when we began to struggle. My husband had to work long hours, so this led my baby girl and I raising her energetically up while working full-time. To be fair, it was darn tough, but I tried to make sure that wherever possible, when my husband came home, he could let his hair down and relax. A year earlier, we were at the onset of this thing. Randomly, one day, $5,000 got pulled out of our joint account. It was the college fund for our daughter. I was flabbergasted and immediately confronted my husband when he came home from work. "Seraphine, what did you do with our serious money?" My husband expressed apologetic helplessness in the situation and said, when I probed him for a reason, "Please forgive me. I got into an accident in my business trip and needed some quick cash." "What, so are you okay?" "Oh yeah, but the car had a little damage, so it's at the auto place. I figure it will be another 3 days." Sure enough, we noticed his car was not in our parking lot. "Okay, if you are okay with that, then another cannot be helped." I just told my husband to move the money back into our joint account at some other later date and let that be all there is. But after that day, his conduct began to be weird in more ways. He would come one day and say he had trouble at work. Another time he would have lent money to a friend who is in financial difficulties, and it's always some reason for him to borrow money. By all means, I begged to repay next month. I ended by out-trusting him, and kept giving him $500 out of my own pocket each month. But the more time went on, more I became annoyed with him. You have not even given me a half sign of money back. For how long should I wait? I will pay back on my payday next month. I'd received a promise along those lines only last month, though at the time it had felt like he was simply trying to put me off, and I allowed myself to sigh deeply. My husband, whose money was extra to the mortgage, complained he never had any. I can't lend you any more. So the first thing is you have to pay back that $5,000 you took from your account. That's why I find myself in a bind today. Remember this. Anything you can do, I will have to borrow from a consumer finance company. Wait, are you kidding me? That was the statement I could not turn down. Then I was forced to fork out more cash money that came from me myself. Man, sidebar stuff is feeling super shoes. You cannot have work problems every month, or if your friends always want money. As the distrust towards my husband built up over time, I would have stomachache caused by stress. A single midnight in those days of trouble. Mom, wake up. Swaddle, and in the dirt, the floral baby lies. No way. Noah, you must be dreaming. I pretended to be asleep, and my daughter kept shaking me. What's going on? By which husband, prissy about having not gotten to have his nap in order. But then we both distinctly heard a baby cry. Could it be a neighbor's baby? No way. There's a baby in the garden, I'm telling you. We have to go quickly. Our daughter flew out of the bedroom, as did my husband and I. Then she led the way to a garden apartment balcony outside. Soon the pleas increased from mere mumbles to loud cries. We came to the balcony and we saw a baby under our lighting at backyard wrapped with blanket. Who would abandon a baby in our yard like this? Even if it was a prank, that is unforgivable. We were completely shocked and dumbfounded, while our daughter was elated. She identified herself as Noah's sister. Yay! Wait, what? Don't say weird things. I was quite perplexed. However, my husband thundered a little noisily at our daughter. Even so, our daughter stood proudly with her hands on hips and stared up at my husband. It's true. This baby is Noah's sister. As our daughter proclaimed her truth with self-assured strength, refusing to be cowed against my husband, I was beside myself, and all I could do was stand there in amazement as the two of them went back and forth. When it did, my husband's phone in his pocket vibrated. So did the moment his eyes opened wide, whitening of his complexion as he peered into that fucking monitor. Why the face just now? All that can come later, but it is not the time for that now. Yo, we got to call the 520 first. Wait, let's bring this little baby inside. It must be chilly, left alone all night. Yeah, that is one where it would be appropriate to call the cops. I had an uneasy feeling about the way my husband was acting. I took my daughter inside, continued to believe in foul play, and then wound up holding the baby wrapped firmly in a blanket. If I were to trust the strange power of my daughter and her words, then clearly this baby was sister with mine. I have not been pregnant or given birth to another baby after Noah. Which means, I really hope that's not true, but again, with the way Seraphine has behaved being so sketchy about this situation already, it seems a little too odd. I remained placid just so as not to alert my husband, while secretly working out a plan that would lead me find out the core of his lies. That morning, my husband said, I'm just going to take her down and give her into the police. At my husband's words, I said okay, that we would take care of the baby here tonight. I work tomorrow too, but having this weird thing has given me the flu bed is where I need to be a hurry off, so watch out for that little guy, will you? Not owning up to absolutely anything, my husband scurried behind and darted into the bedroom. Now generally, I would be pissed, but at that time as soon as him and his buddies were clear away from it, I saw my opportunity. She picked a day when I was not working, which my husband slept while she went through the painstaking activity of preparation. What I do need to do is tell the truth. As much as I wanted to believe that the insides of me were still churning and my hands shook in fear. Feeling my emotions, she held onto the hand, comforting me and being so gentle. "It's okay, Mom. Noah is on your side." "Thank you, Noah." Maybe my daughter does not exactly know what is going on or happening between me and her dad. Nevertheless, I mustered all the courage in me to face my hubby for my daughter's sake and set things straight. And so, the long night was broken and we greeted a new day. My husband jumped up and acted all distressed as soon as he sat eyes open. "I have been drafted into work / has come a short notice to work. I'll go to the police when I'm home, my baby you care during the day." Tilled. Over those words, he left in a hurry without having had breakfast. "Goodbye, be safe on your way." I gave him one final smile as I saw him out the door, in typical fashion. The moment Seraphine had walked, driven away from the house, I acted instantly. I grabbed my daughter and the baby, who I was only too happy to get away from for a few hours at this point in time, jumped into my car. My other half messed his back up playing sport, and drove an hour down south to my parents' house. Then I grabbed my phone. In point of fact, when my husband was fast asleep, knocked out, I unlocked his phone with his thumbprint and tossed a tracker on there. I used it to get in my car and follow the map location. So I pulled up to an ancient brick apartment building. But not knowing what room, I proceeded cautiously down the hall to each door and checked. At last the noise from a first-floor chamber separated into passionate arguing between a man and woman on the ground floor. What do you want me to say about leaving the baby here in our home? So who did this, and what was that message about? What I would know was my husband's unmistakable voice calling out to the other, accusing him. As I wrote, didn't it say, "Take care of the child"? Oh, so you just did not read the message properly, or are donkey years of learning to understand things, let alone written text. A shrill woman's voice retorted, echoing to outside the entrance my husband standed. I had been listening in for so long, but their argument made it clear that this was never going to be over. "I'm sure this is the place." On that certainty, I twisted the knob to what room voices of arguing came. The door opened with force as though unlocked. My husband looked surprised to see me when I entered. "Elara, what are you doing here?" "Hello, Monica." I held her eye contact as calmly I replied, "As always, thank you for looking after my husband." Closed the front door on a flustered response from him. Monica let me loom over her desk in a close personal space kind of way, one she seemed to be worried about. What do you call me?" "Some little girl, I won't say who, but heard about you." With the help of Noah, my daughter, who was born with an astounding power to speak into the souls from another world, I managed to extract a few words of explanation regarding this current situation. "So, my husband Seraphine met you, Monica, where you slummed drinks to busy men who were his clients. You almost had a kid together. How the hell do you know that? You hired a detective, or what? I can't believe this." Though my husband was flustered, the mistress seemed all cool, maybe even decadent. "Seraphine, all that money you were taking from me, it was for the birth and to support his child, wasn't it?" "Well, not only that, but you live with Monica, right?" My husband's sandals and shoes were lying in the entrance. I tried to pick them up, but Seraphine grabbed them quickly. "Seraphine, certainly the fact that your behavior is in itself so suspicious." My husband grew pale and couldn't take the heat of my glare. Seraphine had been using part of the $5,000 he withdrew from our savings to pay hospitalization and cesarean section surgery expenses for Monica's childbirth. He has also been giving her $500 a month in child support. Not only that, but he had been out of town on business and away at his mistress's house 3 days a week. This had all been a huge ruse. And my husband was standing there with his mouth half open, saying, "Do you know that?" Just say when I told him. Well, concerning the authenticity of this baby, I already understand it. It's because Monica is engaged to a venture company CEO isn't. Huh. You abandoned the baby and headed up our way because she was interfering in your plan, didn't you? She had waited until it was late at night to leave him on our front porch and then texted my husband a message. He unlocked his phone and he sent a new message, which I saw with my own eyes. He had never anticipated I would know all of this. My husband looked surprised and reached for his pocket as he watched me. That is why you attempted so frantically to keep me beyond the cops attaining initially. Proper. How much do you know? His forehead was moist with sweat, like it belonged to a frog looking at an oncoming snake. Meanwhile, the mistress was checking her watch over and over again. Hello, do you mind leaving your marital problems out of my office? Just go away for a while, will you? I am about ready to get my date started. As if it is not your concern. You cannot do anything to a person's husband and think that you will go scot-free. It's not like that. For a moment I thought Seraphine was just fucking with me. I should go back to being the wife of a financier, like I thought it was all a mistake when we got pregnant, but now that he's going to be CEO, I can just reset everything. My husband was speechless, and Monica just continued to make her selfish comments. I can never approve that. Adam, in hindsight, I have no idea what you were trying to do, but obviously it was so terrible that dumping the baby onto me seemed like a good plan. Shut up. Seraphine goes for you getting me knocked up in the first place, bozo. Let's go, put your shoes on. With no inhibitions, Monica went on to fire off at my husband. You are the dad, so he needs to participate and develop with your kid. Ishibashi, your daughter at home will be excited to have a little sister. As a parent of a daughter, I could not stomach such comments and my hands instinctively clenched. I wanted to slap this woman at that moment, but then I heard the sound for a car engine. I walked toward the door and looked out on to see a luxury car driving towards my street. These days, the car drove and drew up close to alongside of the apartment. Monica, I was coming to get you because you didn't show, but then when Miss Knight got out the car shawl, a man wrote, "Oh no, you're already here." Judging by the mistress's panicked reaction, this man must be her new fiancé, the CEO of the venture company. At that moment, I had a brilliant idea. Nice to meet you. Actually, my husband has been taken care of by Monica. I spoke loudly and cheerfully, and the fiancé seemed bewildered. Huh? Oh, really? While Monica tried to stop me in a panic, still trying to put on her shoes, I quickly approached the man. Actually, last night Monica left a baby born between her and my husband in our backyard. That's why I came to hear the situation with my husband before Monica, who had rushed over, could cover my mouth. I blurted out the truth. The fiancé was surprised. Huh? I heard Monica was single. He looked at her with suspicion. That's a lie. Everything this woman says is nonsense, so don't believe her. Monica desperately tried to make excuses while sweating profusely, but the CEO of the venture company wanted to hear the details, so I told everything I knew. During this time, Monica tried to deceive somehow, but I managed to overpower her and reveal everything. The man then said, "What kind of woman are you?" And then to Monica, "I don't want a liar like you. Don't ever contact me again," he said coldly and got into his car. As the CEO of a venture company, he probably wanted to avoid such scandals. Wait, there's more to this. Please let me explain. Monica tried to cling onto the car, but when I stopped her, her fiancé drove off without even opening the window. No, my bright future as the CEO's wife. With a thud, Monica dropped to her knees and sat down on the spot, realizing what had just happened. Then she quickly looked at Seraphine. "Hey, Seraphine, I'm sorry. Let's continue to get along well, okay? Let's take back the child from this woman and live happily together as a family of 3. She leaned into her husband's chest, looking up at him with a pleading gaze. "What kind of person is she? I didn't steal her baby. She's the one who irresponsibly left the baby in our yard." I was gaping at her sudden change in attitude, and it seemed Seraphine had had enough of being manipulated by Monica. Furrowing his brow, he glared at her. "Enough, I can't deal with you anymore," as he pushed away the mistress who had clung to him. She had a fierce expression like a demon. "Huh, I'm saying I'm going back with you, Monica." Furious, she scratched her husband's face with her nails, sparking a violent fight between them. While I watched in silence for a while, there was no sign of it ending. It takes 2 to tango. I sighed deeply, realizing I didn't want to get any further involved in their fight. I purposely clapped my hands loudly. "All right, that's enough." Both of you, feeling exhausted, I stopped them, being fed up. "Anyway, I'll be demanding compensation for the affair from both of you, Seraphine, plus a divorce settlement." "Hold on a second. Don't talk about breaking up. This is not a joke. I can't pay compelled, though." When I first discovered them, they protested mightily, until a single steely look from me was enough to silence the rebels. "Elora, I'm truly sorry. This woman, I cannot break up with her, so you forgive me. I'm not soaking, don't you understand? I've just had enough of you. Please let's talk alone." "No, I won't. They destroyed so much, there is no way I could forgive them after that." This time with an obstinate face, I expressed my determination. "Oh, ma'am, I will deal with the baby on my own, so could you not offer to compensate me? Surely it's the responsibility of a parent to raise their own child. But no excuses, my dear." I finally shouted at both my husband and the mistress dropped on their knees, pleading for forgiveness. That right there in front of me caused a realization that I no longer had any love for my husband. Regret your actions. Fork out repayment, even if that means stealing. I cannot not think about Noah's face. It's your own fault. Don't come near me. My husband knelt and took my hand, the sorrow in his eyes, when he then looked into mine. "Elora, listen carefully. If we get a divorce, Noah will be sad. That you hide behind our daughter like that is your disgusting side. Don't worry, so I will make her forget the face of a father who cheats." His hold slackened when I said that so coldly. I had to take the chance and get rid of him. What am I supposed to do tomorrow if you leave me? Survive on your own. Goodbye. I will send you a packet of the divorce papers later. I turned to make my way back outside and saw a curious cluster of people gathered around the apartment as I walked away, leaving those 2 at entrance. The door was open and everything went through it. Oh, my goodness. I never thought something like that would happen. I knew they would get scared by the commotion and immediately ran to my house. My betrayer and his mistress were hung over with heads bowed, shame barely contained within their diseased skins. And as of this moment, my future was unwritten, but I would write into it